A wrap.
All right. Very good.
Yeah. Went a lot of different places with that one.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Hey, so boy, it's been raining here for like the last 24 hours.
Oh, I was going to say, I thought I remember reading a few days ago that it was like torrential rains.
Well, it was pretty hard rain here, but I would say a normal rain if you're in Ohio, it seemed like pretty normal. But here, when it rains, we freak out. We can't take anything.
It's
out
the
here.
rainy season, though, isn't it?
It is. It's perfectly normal, and it's nice. It's nice that the ground is finally sucking up some water here. Because boy, I tell you, it was so dry here. I mean, it was drier than ever. It seemed like. I mean, during the whole COVID crisis, I think it only rained once or twice. I mean, just dry as a bone out here, and now finally we're getting rain, and
Doesn't it typically rain all through January?
I wouldn't say all through, but we didn't really get a lot of rain this January, to be honest. Some years we get rain almost every day in January, and other years not so much. Last year we got a lot, and it makes the whole place so beautiful. Everything's green, flowers growing everywhere, and then by the end of the summer, everything's all brown and dried up like a bone, ready to catch on fire.
Of course, and yeah, that's what happens. But do you get a lot of flooding, flash floods, because of the quickness of all?
Yes, yeah. I've never. I mean, last night we had a flood warning, so that happens, and also landslides happen all the time when it rains out here, because especially in the areas where fires have happened. Because what happens is the vegetation dies, so the rooting under the ground dies, which makes the ground unstable, and yes, it's devastating. When
being in the valley, man, if you were closer to the mountains, that would be scary.
Something. Yeah, and you see all these houses that are built right into like a 45-degree angle hill or more, and you're thinking, gosh, I don't know how comfortable I'd be. It's raining tonight, you'd be up all night. Like, what was that noise?
Out on the deck with binoculars.
Yeah, really. I'll sleep in the driveway tonight. I don't know how they do it, but they are beautiful houses.
Yeah. Where did I heard or read something about that very recently, about how in California that people will build in flood zones and probably, all these high risk areas now, because run on everybody's intense everywhere else that you want to build. But there's not a lot of other places to build. No. How do you think the old mass exodus is going? Is that still going strong?
Yeah. Yes, it is. I was just talking to a guy in Reno, Nevada, just this week, and he was talking about how if anybody's thinking about moving to Reno, you better go fast, because all these people from San Francisco are moving there.
Wow.
And just buying up all the property. So,
oh my God. Yeah, Reno, huh?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just across the border in Nevada, and, taxes, you're going to save like 10% on your state taxes.
That's all.
Actually, like when you start, I'm talking like if you're paying like 20%, you're going to be down to 10%. That's what I'm talking, so you're actually going to be saving like a huge amount of tax here. He gave me an example. He said that when he was living in California, he lived in a $500,000 house. He said he was paying $9,000 a year in state taxes on that. In Nevada, he's paying $1,000 a year for that.
Oh, wow. Hey, and with all the energy crap going on, I don't know, you may not have even been in your car for the last 2 weeks. I don't know. But have you seen gas prices skyrocket?
The gas prices are going up here, definitely. Mm-hmm. But we're and I don't know what your gas prices are over there, but we're almost at $4 a gallon here.
Wow.
We're right about $4 a gallon, but we're always way higher than the rest of the country. I mean, we've been at about $3.50 for all summer long.
When we were at $2.
So we've got higher gas taxes here, and they have a refining process that the state insists on that actually drives up the cost of our gasoline as well. So it's just, and also where we get our oil from. Well, America, they quote energy independent. we don't get our oil from America here. We get it from Iran, and it comes out of the Persian Gulf. I mean, the tankers come out of there and come over here. So that obviously makes our oil prices much higher. And so we're completely dependent on the OPEC nations here, while the rest of the country is not.
That's another reason why I want the electric cars. I really do. But I mean, I want the infrastructure, a solid infrastructure to support it for sure. But man, I don't know, petroleum, nothing about it. Everything makes me feel very negative when I think of petroleum.
Well, and I think that
natural gas is clean, you know?
Yeah, you know, it seems to me that any way you cut it, there's something bad there.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I was going to bring it up during the show that when we were talking about solar panels, they're notorious for eating up fossil fuels in the production process.
Yeah, and you know, wind turbines. The one thing that's happening there is those turbines need to be replaced, and then recycling those big, huge things. They can't really do it, and in making those huge blades causes a ton of carbon output. So by the time you get it up there and it's supposed to be this clean energy, it's really not the clean energy that it's said to be. And it causes a lot of trash. Even the solar energy causes a lot of just a lot of waste products. So even like natural gas, we're fracking now, and all the problems with fracking that go along with that. It just seems like any way you look at it, there's going to be a negative side to it that we can play up, and then it becomes politicized as well. I don't know. To me, it kind of seems like six in one hand, half dozen in the other. I mean, I understand when I see like these trucks going by or whatever with big plumes of smoke coming out of it. You know, okay, let's look at that. But here's another thing, Barry. Out here, I have this, you know, the emission testing. You still have that in Ohio, right?
Yeah. Okay. I just had it done. Yeah.
Oh, we have it. So I have it every 2 years here.
Same.
And it is, I mean, it's a pain. It's a real pain out here. Yeah.
I just had it done a few weeks ago because my birthday, and because of COVID, dude, it was a breeze. I didn't even get out of the car.
How nice is that?
I mean, I was home before Lisa realized I was gone. I just drove right up, and the guy's like, open your door. He hooked something up there. I don't know what that was about. And then he put a thing on my gas cap and hit some computer stuff and printed this thing out. And he's like, you're good to go. I mean, it took like 2 minutes.
Well, that's pretty nice. I always wonder, like, because you know, I used to work at an amusement park in a carnival game. And so when I see those guys like put the thing in there, and then they're standing behind that little thing, that little monitor, and, okay, you passed, and they show you these numbers, and you're like, oh yeah, that looks pretty good. Oh, I have no idea what I'm looking at. That guy could have this could be like an Etch-a-Sketch he's got back there.
And I heard, as I'm sure you have over the many years that they've been doing this, that you could go all the way back around and come back through again, and you'll get a different reading.
That's really funny. So the last 2 times I had my emission test, I failed. And wow. I've been driving that Ford Taurus around. It's 20 years old now.
Oh, and wow.
Can you believe that? But I mean, you were in it. I mean, it's not like there's a bunch of smoke coming out of the back or anything like that. It's a great car. But I'm driving down the street, and these other cars are out there just belching big black clouds of smoke out of there. I'm like, how is that car on the road, but mine doesn't pass? I don't really get this. I
will say,
make sense.
Going through the mountains with you, though, in that car and everything is nothing about your car, but you're going around these hairpin turns, and I am just picturing that door, which I'm smashed up again, guess because of inertia, just that door popping open, and I go flying over the side of that mountain.
That is hilarious, Barry, because okay, so I live on this road called Topanga Canyon, and I remember the first time I came out here, somebody drove us down to the beach, and we went down Topanga Canyon, and me and Anne Marie were in the back seat. It was like being in a roller coaster, man. And we were like, you know, and so but then after you drive it like 1,000 times, it's like you know, the back of your hand. And so Scott came out to visit when he was living in Florida. I'm like, hey man, let's go. I love this road, let's go down. And he was sweating, man. He was like, Merle, no, look out for that car. I'm like, Scott, just calm down, man, everything's fine. You just totally get used to it, I guess.
When we were in Italy and we were on the Amalfi Coast, and it was a fairly rainy day and evening, and we had a driver, and it's just the Amalfi Coast is going all around up the side of this mountain, and it's virtually one lane with a minor little guardrail over on the side. So when another car comes at you, it's just terrifying. This driver's texting as he's driving.
Oh,
like this
terrible.
is old hat to him. It was, but for our first time, it was terrifying.
It sounds awful. I'm a bad passenger too.
Well, and you know, we have a lot more stringent regulations in the US than anywhere else, you know? So
right.
Oh, but then, you know, then you get up in the Rocky Mountains, though. I say that we had the similar experience. I had to drive through the Rocky Mountains. There's no guardrails on a lot of those because my brother told me because they have to push the snow off.
That's what it is. And so it won't go off with those guardrails. So you're like, okay, if I just kind of nod for a second, I mean, I'm just going to turn into confetti at the bottom of that cliff.
I wonder what the stats are like and something like that.
They keep that well secured. And that never happens here in Colorado. I'm sure there's some pretty horrible history, but I can remember, Anne Marie and I driving up in the mountains too, and me driving up there, white knuckle driving up there. Or if you go up there, it's a sunny day and you're all happy, it's wintertime, because it's fairly mild in the wintertime in Colorado, but you're up there and then suddenly it snows. Mm-hmm. It's terrifying. It's really horrible.
Oh, if there was snow there, we're walking it. We're walking down this mountain.
Is there a hotel? I can't. I'll be up here for a week.
Right. So we are celebrating my birthday tomorrow.
Oh, good. What are you doing?
Oh, Lisa's making crab cakes and seafood pasta. Might have my buddy Irby come over. I haven't talked to him in a while.
That's cool.
But Lisa's like, it was her idea. She's like, you need to socialize a bit. You need a little bit of feeling a little more normal would be nice. Oh, I think I might be going out to Lee Road meet Dan and Janine out there picking up some wine at the Cleveland Urban Winery. So they're going up there this afternoon. I might meet
That sounds like fun. Hey, cool.
Just a visit. Yeah. So anything to feel a little more normal. Because, normally we say, what are you doing this weekend? What are you doing this weekend? Nothing.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Well, this weekend, I hear the sun's going to come out, and I know one thing, I'm going to go for a walk. I'm like excited that I get to go outside now, and I want to get on my bicycle again too. Yeah. That's a big deal to me. And, but I haven't been on it in a long time now. And those first few times you get on the bike and it's that terrible bike seat pain.
Yes. That's exactly what I was going to say. That first ride for sure. Yeah.
It's like the first few times, the first ride,
for me, it's like, just the first.
Boy, that was terrible. Now for me, the second ride is the worst because
you're still sore.
Like, I think I'm fine, but as soon as I put that triangle seat on my butt, it's like, man, it's like I branded a triangle into my butt here.
You know what I do? And I've not seen anyone else do this, but I very intentionally put the seat slightly down.
Yeah, I do too.
I've not seen anyone else do that, but I always
remember when you were riding out here, you were like, hey, I see you do. I remember you made a comment to me about the seat. You're like, you do that too. I do, because of exactly what we're talking about. I like to sit back on that soft part, but after the first couple of rides, I'm clicked in and everything. I'm thinking about, hey, at Spoke, they make a big deal out of the MS 150. Remember, I used to do that all the time. The MS ride, 150 miles.
Wasn't that in Colorado?
Oh, they have it all over the place. They had one in Cleveland, and they have it in Colorado and Texas. Every major city has it. So Spoke, my company, they sponsor. They make a big deal out of it. So they have a team that does it. So they're already talking to me about, oh, you ride a bicycle? We should do this. And the CEO does it and everything. And so they do it in Minneapolis. And so they'll fly you out there, fly your bike out there and everything. And I'm like, if it happens this year, I'm thinking I want to do that. I think it would be fun. And
it would be fun.
I don't think it's a whole 150. I think it's half of that.
150 is a lot, man.
I mean, I've done it 4 times, but I haven't done it in like 10 years. I mean, no, it's been longer than that. I haven't done it since I've been out here. I've lived out here since 2000.
I told you about doing that 5-borough bike ride in New York.
Yes.
Isn't that cool? So cool. Man. What a great way to see that city.
I agree. You know, out here, did I tell you about critical mass out here?
Sounds familiar.
They have a bike ride. I guess
we have it out here too.
Yeah, they have it in all the major cities as well. And so it's called critical mass because you got all these people. They show up on a Friday night to go on a tour of the city on a bike. And usually it's at least here in Los Angeles, they have like a motorcade of police that escort you. So you never have to stop at a stoplight or anything. That's why it's called critical mass. Yeah. And you go through the city. And so it's like from like 8 o'clock until 11 o'clock at night, and you go through like all these places. It was amazing, all the places we went in Los Angeles. I mean, we went by Dodger Stadium, we went down Hollywood Boulevard. That was the most fun part because all these people were lined up on either side of Hollywood Boulevard thinking that maybe this was a movie or something like that. So we were like celebrities coming through there. It was so fun. But I'll tell you, out here in Los Angeles, the people that showed up, because Scott had done it, and he said, "Oh, it's a mellow ride. It's really fun." It was anything but mellow here in Los Angeles. It was like Mad Max out here. First off, everybody's got their bicycles all tricked out with all kinds of like different things, you know, like horns on them and stuff, and lights and crazy stuff. That was cool. Some of them have like great stereo systems and everything. And these people have like really interesting types of bicycles. A lot of the young people were riding bicycles that didn't have any brakes. No brakes, no front brakes, no rear brakes. For some reason, they think that's cool. We have a lot of hills here in Los Angeles. So the way that they brake is they'll put their foot back, they're back on the back tire and rub it up against the side of the tire, just like your brakes. So
dangerous.
You'll hear like when they brake, like that when they're rubbing the tire. It's so dangerous that on my first ride, so we're coming up around Dodger Stadium, and it's real hilly over there, and we're going up this big hill. It's just a grind. It's pitch black outside too, but when we get to the top, it immediately turns into a big steep downhill with switchbacks. In front of me, about 100 yards, a kid wrecks. He had one of those bicycles into a cement buttress. Well, by the time I ride back, past him, I'm riding with a group of guys I just met. When we ride past, there's already people on the scene trying to help this guy. Blood everywhere. Dude died on the ride.
Well, see, that's going to be a short-lived fad. You know what that reminds me of? Rollerblading. And I went through the phase too. You had a funny story in Chicago about going through a bus station or something. The way you told that story was funny. You're like, yeah, you know, like when those arms and legs are going every which way. But I had my accident with Bowser at the time at the Metro Park, where he saw something and he pulled me right up off my feet, go backwards, land on my wrist, like broke my wrist and stuff. I'm like, I'm done with rollerblading. Yeah. And I was doing it for quite some time. I had my little spin stops down pretty well. Yeah. And I tell you, I recognize the potential for disaster because you didn't have real brakes or anything.
Yeah. Not having brakes is a real liability.
It is.
You know what, Barry? I almost called you Larry. I called Larry, my stepfather, Barry, yesterday.
Senile old man. I thought I'm the one that was.
Anyhow, Barry. Wait a second, Larry. That's right. Anyway, so I had a rollerblade. Last time I was on rollerblades, I injured myself. And I haven't been on rollerblades since. And it was so fun when it happened. I mean, all the way up until it happened. In fact, when it happened, I didn't actually realize I'd injured myself so badly. But I went on this meeting over at, it was a hotel I had to stay at right across from the campus of USC. And I love college campuses. It's just fun.
Sure.
I wanted to put on my rollerblades after the meetings and everything, and go over to the just campus right there and just rollerblade around campus. It's beautiful over there. It's a fun thing to do. So that's what I did. Everybody else went to the bar. I went over there, and I think they thought I was weird. Yeah, maybe that is weird. I don't know. When I went on campus, I'm rollerblading around. Guess what? There was nobody else on rollerblades there. I think I was like the crazy old man on rollerblades. It's just not cool to rollerblade, I guess, anymore. But I didn't care.
This had to be a while ago.
This was a few years ago, probably about. I was working for Vocera, so it was probably about 3-4 years ago.
That's so pretty recent for rollerblades. Nobody rollerblades anymore. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I was like, hey, everyone's looking at me, but I was having fun. I didn't care. So I rollerbladed over to my hotel right across the street, and I decided, I'm just gonna keep the blades on, go into the parking garage. My car was on like the 4th floor or something like that, and it was like a 6th floor parking garage, and just skate into the elevator. And so when I got up to the 4th floor, I thought, wait, I'm going to go up to the 6th floor, and I'm going to rollerblade down to my car from there. So actually what I'm going to do is, it's so beautiful. It was a beautiful night, and it was near downtown, that I was going to use, and it was not a lot of cars in the parking lot. I'm going to use that top deck as like a ice skating rink, and like the beautiful city. And I did that for a while. That was cool. But then I was like, okay, time to go to the car. I started skating, because it's all downhill.
Sure.
Down to my car, and pretty soon I was going pretty fast, and I'm going around those corners, and I saw my car, but I was having so much fun doing it that I just decided to go all the way down to the bottom of it. Oh my gosh. I mean, when I was going around those corners, I was like at a 45-degree angle going around there and just having a blast. And I got down to the bottom, and I'm like, man, I'm doing that again. And it was like I was on an amusement park ride. I skate over to the elevator. I go up to the top. Woohoo! Here I go. I go down again. I got about halfway down, and I was going around one of those corners, and I was like, it was so cool. I felt so cool. I was like putting one skate over the other as I was going around, like those professional rollerbladers, except for the one skate I put down. I put the blade down in a wonky angle, and I twisted my knee real quick like that. 9 months later, I was recovered from that. I was like, I couldn't walk for almost a year after that. And then even this summer, I might have told you, I was having some real bad knee issues. It was like the same thing flared up. I was in physical therapy over this whole thing for months after that. And I'm like, I still have my rollerblades in the garage. This was a few years ago. And I look, they're brand new too.
Yeah.
I'm like, doggone it.
I don't even remember what I did. I think I just threw mine out or something. They were still like new. But that was easily 10 years ago. That was way more than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago. But I like to do the same thing on my bike in University Circle. Love riding around there, the museums and stuff. And
I love it over there.
The parking garage by the art museum, or I should say by the Natural History Museum. I go to the top 2 and then fly down on the ramp all the way down.
I love that.
That's fun.
So cool. I love it too.
Yeah. To ride around there on a beautiful summer day is
I'd love to ride with you down there, man.
Oh, it would be fun. MLK is gorgeous. Yeah.
It really is. It really is over there.
Yeah.
I'm glad it still is too, because there was a few times in Cleveland where I thought, boy, I mean, you go to the left or the right of that place, and you're in some pretty scary areas.
Oh, still like that.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. Yeah.
I remember one time because Tracy's family used to live back there. And I remember pulling up in a car, and this pack of dogs comes by, and one of them had like a tail, but it didn't have any skin on it. It was just like bones dragging down, And this is a rough neighborhood. The dogs are like skeletons here.
Right.
They're looking at you like you're their next meal, and even that. I mean, even babies are scary over there. I was just talking to Anne Marie about she heard some kind of safari thing where these people they went on an African safari, and somehow a lion got into their place, and the guy was highly injured. And she's like, it's not safe on a safari. I mean, I'm like, it's a safari. Safaris, right. It's not supposed to be safe on a safari. Well, wasn't anybody watching? I'm like, look, even if somebody was watching, what are you can't stop a lion. I mean, and I was telling her, about how I was watching Richard Pryor talk about when he went over to Africa and he went on a safari, and he said that even the rabbit scared him. he made an expression of what the rabbit looked like.
Richard Pryor was the funniest comic ever. But I remember a friend telling me about a couple of his friends, like one guy friend talked his other guy friend to go into Africa for like a 10-day safari type thing. And he was so angry because he was terrified. He said, we'd be sitting out there in a tent at night, and it's so dark you can just see all these eyes glowing on the edge of the forest. Oh, he was so mad. Yeah,
man, I went camping. Last time I went camping, I was in Joshua Tree, and I'm not a big camper, but Anne Marie were out there, and I were out there, and I remember, I mean, it gets darker than I don't know what over there, and it was beautiful. I mean, we saw a billion stars in the sky. Love that. But I remember being in the tent and then hearing all the critters out there. Like I knew we were surrounded, but I was actually scared to look out to see what it was out there.
I bet I would be too out there for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, so I didn't want to put it on the show. I thought it's too nerdy, but we got this Perseverance satellite that's landing on Mars pretty soon. I forget.
Oh,
here are a couple of statistics I remember. First of all, it's the largest rover to ever land on Mars, but it's a 400 million mile trek, and it only has 25 million miles to go. That's
wow.
Only
has 25 million
miles.
I can't even imagine a million miles, but 25 of them.
So the trick is landing the thing safely. They call it something like 7 minutes of terror, because it comes streaking down into the Mars atmosphere. And they got all these computer animations of exactly the simulation.
How cool.
Really cool. It's streaking down into the Mars atmosphere like a meteor. And then it finally, at a certain point, pulls the chute and then loses the heat shield. And then the retro rockets fire in order to get it to a 0 mile-an-hour impact at the very end. And then the retro rockets detach from the satellite itself, just as the rover is landing, and then the ropes automatically eject, and the retro rocket appendage flies off. It's wild, man. So it is like
just be like that way it can drive around. Is that
yeah? It's kind of like how when we shoot rockets up into space, how at a certain point the fuel rocket disengages, falls to Earth or whatever.
Yes.
It's kind of like that. So you got this big honking piece of machinery coming down on the Martian land, and then all of a sudden the top part that has the 4 retro rockets on it detaches, but it's still holding together by 4 cables. And then the rover, that's the rover down there. And then when it lands, the rockets somehow detach the 4 cables, and the retro rocket part flies away out of harm's way.
Wow.
Oh, it's crazy, man. And
that's
then
really cool.
This is the first time there is also a helicopter, a separate. So this rover has a sidekick.
Helicopter.
It has a sidekick. This little helicopter we've never flown a helicopter on a different planet before. And I forget this, I watched video on a few months ago, but it has to spin like an unbelievably amount faster because of the thin atmosphere.
I was thinking of that. Yes.
Yeah. So it can only fly like something like 100 yards or 200 yards at a time. What it's doing is scouting for rover. the rover.
I see.
And then, they communicate back and forth to make sure it has safe passage to the next. And then they do it again. Oh, then it has to recharge for the day or whatever. And then they do that again.
That is fascinating.
And they're landing in this crater that was an ancient lake and riverbed. So they're looking for signs of ancient life. Dude, I think this is fascinating.
I do too. I think it's fascinating as well. I think a couple of things. I have a question for you. Because Trump had put a lot of emphasis in the space program and in the space force. Actually, we talked about that. I was excited. Now that Biden's in, what do you think is going to happen with that? Because under the Obama administration, he basically dismantled NASA. So what do you think now? Are you hearing anything?
I haven't heard a thing. So I don't even know what to speculate.
I hope he keeps up with that, because I think that, first off, how exciting, but secondly, strategically,
we talked about that.
When you can't not do this.
It's a race between us and China. Whoever owns space wins the race.
Did you just make that up?
I did. I just said it as it came to me. You
better copyright that, man. I'm serious, man. That's golden. That's gold.
It's the truth. We should use that as a mantra. Whoever has wins the race. Yeah.
But it's always been in war. Whoever owns the high ground wins, and you can't get much higher than space.
So it was tech, which means nuclear and all tech, and now tech is transferred into space tech. It goes higher and higher.
So, usually from what I understand with the initial space race, that really behind the scenes, the real motivation was military. Mm-hmm. And so you talk about this going out to Mars and everything, and going into looking for water, and could there be signs of life and everything. But I'm thinking maybe the real motivation is that there is some sort of strategic advantage of having that as a high ground, and maybe it could even be self-sustaining if they were able to find water there.
That's the goal.
Not saying that people would be stationed there, maybe they would, but that somehow there would be some type of protection set up from that vantage point. I don't know, but it just seems like that's really why we would be investing in something like this.
Well, Elon Musk has some kind of goal, something like by 2030 to have it colonized, something like that. And thank God for the private sector.
Wait, let me ask you, by then we'll be in our 70s, but I just say, so we probably wouldn't want to do that. But if we were,
I would not.
Would you want to do that?
No,
I wouldn't. Who would want to do that? I mean, it seems like if you don't, for me, I'm disqualified. I didn't pass the BOFIN test with the submarine. I was certainly not going to be able to make it up to Mars, but or in that spaceship, it's basically a submarine.
Man. No way.
Look, you know what? I went to the Science Museum down here to see the Columbia. I think it was one of those space shuttles. I was pretty shocked. Have you ever seen any of these before?
Not up close, no.
Okay, I hadn't either. And I got to tell you, I was super unimpressed.
Wow.
And I couldn't believe it, Barry. I was disappointed because it was made out of this, what do you call it? It's choreographed, something steel. It looked like a tin can. It looked like a trash can. It was just like, what? It looks so pristine on TV and everything, but when you see it up close, it's like, I wouldn't get in that, go into space in that thing. Are you kidding me? Who made this thing?
Like a can opener could take that thing apart?
Well, there's like a billion bolts in that thing. There's just a bolt every couple, and I'm like, I left there with the impression, well, no wonder these things blow up there. I mean, that looks like I would not get in that. And then I saw in there, they had various space capsules in there that had been used. And I'm like, I couldn't even get in the door of these things.
Yeah.
These are little dudes that have to get inside of these things.
Could you imagine being up in space, entering back into the Earth's atmosphere on fire, rocketing back towards Earth, and that That tiny ass thing?
No.
Me either.
I mean, I used to think, I mean, we've talked about this before. I used to think that's what I wanted to do, is be an astronaut. I mean, I was all into the space program. I was drinking Tang. I was going, man.
Drinking Tang.
And but now I'm like, thank God. I mean, knowing me, I mean, I get nervous driving my car down Topanga Canyon Boulevard. I mean, what am I gonna fly a rocket somewhere? No way.
I find it more fascinating than anything else, but there's no, I would not want to do that. Oh, just listen to a podcast recently about a guy that spent like 250 days in the space station. Oh, an incredible guy. But could you imagine?
No.
Right, me either. But
how mentally damaging could that be to you?
Yeah, you would think. I cannot believe that we do not have a moon base at this point in time.
Yeah,
I can't believe that.
It seems like that would be extremely strategic. I mean,
launching anything from a moon base would seems like it would be infinitely easier than launching it from Earth, Mars, even, or anything else. I mean, I can't believe we don't have a moon base.
You know, it's funny. In you know, being married to Anne Marie, I used to ask her this question, and I'd always be shocked. I knew the answer, but I'd always be shocked. And I would say, you know, if you had a chance to go to the moon, would you go? No. Like, what? You wouldn't go? I would go. I'm telling you, that Bowfin thing changed everything for me. I'm like, no, not go to the moon.
It would be,
Anne Marie, right, once again.
I would think about it.
Say that.
I couldn't say that I would give it an absolute.
Yeah, no. I would. If it really happened, it'd actually be hard to say no.
It would. It'd be crazy to say no in a way.
But if I did say yes, I would be a mess. I would be a mess after that. I have to go.
There have been flights I have been on where I thought I've had moments of like, oh my God, I drink too much coffee in the morning before I got on. Oh my God, I can't get off of here. No matter what I do, I have a moment of a panic attack. Like I've cannot. Yeah. So,
or that moment when they close the door. Boom.
Yeah. So imagine what it'd be like getting shut up into that rocket.
Oh, and just hearing the rocket just underneath of you. Like, can you imagine what that? I can't imagine what the sound must be like.
Oh,
the feeling
vibration,
of that. Oh,
the G-force.
I mean, it's almost amazing they don't just fly apart with the G-force that's being the absolute power that's happening right there. It's hard to fathom, because when we see it on TV, our perspective with the camera and everything, it almost looks like it's going up in slow motion, but it's firing out of there like a bullet. Like literally as fast as a bullet.
Because it does look like, back to like my point of launching from a moon base. Like, don't you think it would be just as easy as flying a plane? I mean, taking off from a plane, a space shuttle or something from the moon. It would be like a plane. You know,
that's what you would think.
You wouldn't need these big giant rockets to leave the gravitational pull.
I'm almost thinking that you get a bunch of guys out there and go lift. Whoa, up there in orbit.
A rubber band.
We'll see ya. Bon voyage.
Right. Hey, I hate to say it, but we should go.
Right on, man. This has been great, Barry.
Oh, been a lot of fun as always.
Yep.
I can't wait till next week.
Yeah, well, hey, man, happy birthday again.
Thanks, dude.
Birthday weekend. Enjoy that. Tell Dan I said hello, and just
Certainly.
you know, hopefully it goes by slow and lots of fun.
Hey, when is your birthday? Why do guys
in June?
I know. Why do guys not know this stuff?
I know. I was like, Barry's been my best friend for like
we feel bad for about a second.
It's your birthday? I've only gone through 30 of these.
I know.
Mine's June 7th.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I'll have to put that on my calendar.
Yeah, you'll forget again. I'll remind you.
And that's fine. I will put it on my calendar, and I won't forget. I finally put Dan's on there after 20 years. So
wait. Okay. What's the actual date of your birthday?
20. I don't want to say it actually, but 27th.
Oh, I said mine, so we're in together now.
Yeah.
All right. So 27. Okay, I'm gonna put it in my calendar too. So this
we're like a couple of chicks.
I know, right?
Yeah. All right,
Big,
I'll send you
ugly ones.
Send you some flowers.
Some flowers.
Oh, jeez. Don't crop this little segment out there and take it out of context.
The best of Merle and Barry. I'll send you flowers.
All right, bro.
All right,
I'll
love
see
you,
you
man.
next week. Love you.
All right, bye.
Have a good weekend.